push it into the skin to give you the glow from within. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to achieve the glowy everyday makeup, back to school or office makeup. And if you're interested, let's begin. So starting off, you can see my face. This is well moisturized, so I'm gonna be applying some lip gloss on my lip because we don't want any crusty lip. Next, I'm gonna be using a pore filler to fill in the areas where I have large pores. I'm not gonna be using any form of primer, but if pore filler also serves like as a primer. For dry skin, you can use a pore filler and make sure that it's hydrating and it doesn't dry out your skin, and this is really hydrating on the skin. So I'm just going to be filling it in the areas or placing it in the areas where I have large pores and I tend to produce oil the most on my face, concentrating it majorly on my T-zone area, the bridge of my nose, and on my cheekbone and my chin because I produce oil the most in that area. And I'm going to allow this to sit in for a while. And next, I'm going to be using a foundation, and I'm using this one from Black Opal. This is of the yellow undertone, and I'm gonna be placing some foundation at the back of my hand, and I'm also going to be using the brush to buff that into the skin, and I'm going to blend it on my skin to give me a bit of coverage. And I'm placing it in the areas where I need coverage the most. Also gonna be blending it all the way down to my neck and also to my hairline and also towards my ear. And when I'm done doing that, I'm also gonna be using the leftover foundation on the brush and also gonna be blending my nose area because I don't want to apply too much product on my nose. So I'm gonna be using only the leftover to apply on my nose and just work that in to blend everything in together so there is no harsh lines. And when I'm done doing that, I'm gonna go back to other sides of my face to make sure that everything is well blended in together into my skin, and I'm just lightly pushing it into my skin to take off any form of harsh lines or to work it on the other areas of my face where I did not get any form of coverage or foundation coverage. And when I'm satisfied with the blending, I'm going to go in with a concealer. I'm using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus concealer, and I'm going to place this in the areas of my face where I want to highlight my under eye area, the bridge of my nose, and my forehead area. And I'm just blending or placing it to give me that coverage on my face or on my under eye area or in the areas where I want to highlight. And next, I'm going to be using another concealer from Maybelline Fit Me, and I'm just going to be placing it in the inner corners of my eye just to give my under eye a bit of highlights in that area. And to blend off the concealer, I'm going to be using the damp beauty sponge, and I'm going to be blending from the edges starting from my forehead area, and I'm going to work it from the edges and then concentrate on pushing the rest of the concealer into my skin, so it gives me a coverage in the middle part of my forehead area because we want some coverage, but we don't want the concealer to cover my entire forehead, just a bit of the highlighted areas of my face or of my forehead. And next, I'm gonna blend my under eye area, and I'm also gonna be blending from the edges and also push the concealer into my skin. And when it gets to the middle part or when it gets towards my nose area, I'm going to be pushing the concealer into my skin. And this part, you want to make sure that you take your time while doing so it doesn't spread, or so you don't spread the concealer to the areas of the face where you don't want highlights, so it doesn't cake up your under eye area. I'm gently pushing and blending the concealer in a pattern motion, and you don't want to be in a hurry while blending your concealer, especially in your under area. You want to make sure that you take your time while doing so. And next, I'm going to be using a cream blush, and I'm going to be placing the blush in the highest point of my face, and I'm also going to blend it towards my hairline and all the way towards my forehead area, and I'm going to be pushing it into my skin to give us a bit of a glow underneath our makeup. And I love this blush because of the radiant glow it gives underneath the makeup. Is so beautiful. And I'm going to be using my foundation brush to blend the edges of the blush, so to take off the harsh lines, and also pushing it into the skin so it doesn't look too harsh on the skin. It looks like it's going to give us a glow from within. And to set my under eye area, I'm going to be mixing two setting powders, and I love mixing two setting powders for my under eye area because it just gives me more like a natural glow effect to it and not too highlighted under eye. And to blend my under eye, I'm going to be using the beauty sponge to take off the crease lines. You want to make sure that you take off the crease lines or the under eye creases before applying your powder, so the crease lines doesn't appear too visible or the powder doesn't settle underneath your eye or settle on your crease lines. And I'm also going to be using a powder brush to place the setting powder, and I'm lightly pushing it into my skin so it doesn't move the cream product or move the concealer we just placed underneath my skin. So you want to take your time while doing this. You don't want to blend your under eye in a rush or in a hurry. And I'm just gently pushing it into my skin, and I'm also going to be working it on my forehead as well and on my nose area. And I'm also going to apply some of the powder on my smile lines area and also the areas where we have large pores, concentrating the powder and blending it mainly or majorly in the areas where I tend to produce oil the most and where I applied cream products or concealer. And I'm just gently pushing that and patting it into the skin. Now you can see how my skin is looking. It looks really fresh and healthy. And next I'm going to be blending the rest of my face, the areas where I applied foundation, and I'm going to be blending my jawline area, and I'm also going to work it down to my neck. Because I'm not applying any form of contour, I'm making sure that the powder that I'm applying is blending into my skin, so it gives me an illusion like we applied any form of contour or we applied contour in that area. And I'm also going to be working the powder on my forehead as well to blend my forehead, to take off the shine on my forehead, because I tend to produce oil in that area as well, and we don't want any form of shine in that area. And next I'm also going to be setting my blush using a powder blush, and I'm going to be pushing it and pressing it into the skin so it doesn't move, because if you do cream products, if you don't set them, they would move, and you don't want that, especially for your makeup, and especially if you are oily skin. If you're dry skin, you can omit or skip the powder application or excess powder application. You just want to lightly dust the powder on your face so the cream products does not move. Other than that, you don't need to apply too much powder on your face. But if you are oily skin, you want to make sure that you go back in to apply powder and to set the areas of your face where you tend to produce oil the most and where you applied cream products or concealer. I'm also going to be using my powder brush to lightly push the blush into my skin to take off the harsh lines. And to set my under eye area, I'm also going to go back into my palette, and I'm going to be taking the lightest shade and use this to set my under eye area, because I also love using a pressed powder to set my under eye. It just gives me more skin like finish, which I love. And for my brows today, I'm going to be using the brow pencil from Flawless Ivy, and I'm just going to be brushing or combing up my brow hairs, and I'm going to fill in the sparse area, work that to make sure that it gives me more of a natural brow effect or brow look. Next I'm going to be baking my under eye, and again, if you're dry skin, you want to omit or skip this step, but for me, I love baking my under eye because I tend to produce oil, and I want to make sure that I don't produce oil the most. Baking my under eye area or baking my face just gives me or makes me not to produce oil, so the powder will soak up all of the oil that I would usually produce during the day. And for eyeshadow today, again, you can skip eyeshadow, but for eyeshadow today, I'm going to be using the eyeshadow palette from Morphe and James Charles, and I'm going to be taking the brown shade just to fill in my lid space. And I'm also going to be taking another dark shade. This is more cool toned, and I'm going to place that on my lids just to give me the illusion of eyeshadow. You can also use your contour or your bronzer to fill in your eyelids to serve as eyeshadow. For eyeliner, I'm going to be using the gel liner, and I'm using the one from Focalo. For the liner, I just drew a baby wing. And for mascara today, I'm going to be using this one from Maybelline. This is the Maybelline Falsies, I guess, and I'm going to be using that to coat my lashes, my top lashes, and also on my bottom lashes as well, just to give my lashes some length or some volume, because I'm not using any false lashes, so I want to make sure that my lashes have some volume. But you can also decide to wear or use some falsies or false lashes if you're into it, or if that's what you most prefer. And for highlight today, I'm going to be going back into my highlight palette, and I'm going to be placing the highlight on the highest point of my face, and also placing it the bridge of my nose as well. And for lips today, I'm going to be lining my lip using the dark brown pencil, and also just filling the outer part of my lip, and also going to be using a nude lipstick in the innermost part of my lip. You can leave your lipstick like this, but for me, I'm a gloss lover, and I'm going to be topping over with a gloss from Omari Code in Zinnia, and this is so beautiful. I love the gloss on my lip, just placing it right in the middle of my lip. And to set my face, to seal everything in together, to take off the powder feel, I'm going to be using this setting powder from Focalor, and I'm just going to be spritzing all over on my face, more like bathing it, and allow that to dry down. And to set the rest of my face, I'm going to be using a pressed powder, and I'm going to be setting only the areas of my face where I tend to produce oil the most, especially where I have large pores. And guys, you can see the glow on my face. Like, the glow is so beautiful and useful, and I love it. I'm just placing the powder in the areas where I tend to produce oil the most, lightly pushing it into my skin. You don't want to apply too much so it doesn't cake up or clog up your pores or separate your makeup. You don't want that. At this point, I was already done. I was just looking at my face and admiring the glow from the makeup, or the glow underneath my makeup, which is so beautiful and youthful. And there you have it. This is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did create it. If you did, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also leave your video suggestions in the comments, and also check out my other videos to stay connected. Bye guys.